Now, Liverpool might have moved away from Melwood, their famous training ground, but fortunately for them, they have another training ground which they visit twice a year, or once a year actually, but they may as well be there every week because it's always 3 points. Of course, not about Old Trafford. Another 3-0 defeat for Man United. Deary, deary me, Ten Hag. Deary, deary me. We're going to talk about that and our reaction to the other big talking points in this week's episode of One Kick from Glory. And I'm joined, as always, with Craig.
Yeah.
And Matthew.
What's up?
And we're going to start off right there at Old Trafford, Melwood Trafford, as I'm going to now refer to it, going forward. And of course, it was a big win to Liverpool, a vital win, not just in terms of the title race, but I think also to kind of reassure the fan base of how things are going to be under Arne Slot. It's a continuation of the great football, but also it's showing them that there is promise in what he's trying to achieve. For you, Matthew, when you look at that result, how do you feel about just Liverpool in general this season coming?
I think they were wounded a bit last year. They did really well getting to where they were at the end of the season, trying to go and give Klopp his goodbye. Obviously, they fell apart the way and then they finished where they finished and they left it up to you two guys. But I think a set of new ideas, even after a manager as good as him, like a new set of ideas, him stamping down his authority has turned Liverpool back into that very, very much title threats that we thought there would be. That's 3 games in now. It's 3 wins. That's also no goals conceded, by the way. And he's still got some of their older heads like your Salah's still coming up with the goals. Whatever he might say about him being his last year, let's say that it is, he might be his most dangerous this year. You did tip him to be top scorer.
Yep. And
consistently, he's behind the freak. Everyone's going to be behind the freak for now. But he's chipping, I think, he scored in every game now?
Yeah.
He scored in every game, and sometimes that's all you need to do. Just keep on scoring. He's still got chipping in others from like Diaz, and you still got Gakpo to come up and Darwin Núñez to turn up. So like they are very quietly but consistently kind of what we did last year in a way. But whatever Arne Slot's doing right now, it's working. It's a fantastic result for them. Man United could always be a bit of a funny one. It's a terrible result for Man United. Casemiro is going to be having nightmares for a very, very, very long time.
Casemigos.
So thanks for that, by the way. But they're still holding firm with Ten Hag. The board is still holding firm, so he has some kind of hold over them. I don't know exactly what it is. But yeah, this is turning out. It's only been 3 games. It's only been 3 games, but this is looking like it could be a very interesting run into the title come May.
I mean, just speaking on that result, Craig, I guess you look at it from 2 different perspectives. You've got a Liverpool team that are very prolific and they made the most to take advantage of Man United's weaknesses and they got their goals really early and did really well to control the match. On the flip side, you have a Man United team at home, again, not able to control midfield, but they did create their own chances and didn't take them. How would you sum it up from a Man United perspective, how that game went?
On another day, United took their chances of doing a draw. It could have been a win. I think Zerkzee was guilty of missing 3 end chances and he missed them. Rashford was creating, and Rashford got a lot of stick after the game. But what else can he do? He created chances for the guys to score and he wasn't scoring. But I thought with Rashford, he needs to do more. He's on 350 grand a week, the highest paid player at the club, and he's been at the club a long time. England international, and he's not in the squad at the moment, but still an international player because he played in the World Cups. He was the youngest to go to the Euros when he was young, when he first started. And I think he's gone backwards. I honestly feel he's gone backwards. I feel like the player that Rashford used to know to take on players. Now, I don't know if it's the way how the coaches coached him out of it or the way how the coaching system is working where he's just not taking on players. Garnacho will take on players. Ahmed will take on players. He's not taking on players. He gets the ball, he doesn't just cross it in. Where's the Rashford from 2 seasons ago when he scored almost 30 goals in the league? Or not 30 goals overall the whole season. Where's that Rashford? He's only a year or 2 older. And it's a shame because he's a good player. I feel that if he doesn't do well this season, I feel United might decide to cash in on him, I know he's the academy product and all that, but he's the highest earning player and he needs to start delivering. If he wants to get back, I thought this season he would, after the Euro snub, not getting into Euros, I thought he would take it as like motivation to just prove everyone wrong, like what David Beckham did in '98 when he got sent off against Argentina and he came back the following season just determined and won the treble. I thought that's the kind of Rashford we're going to see this season, but I haven't seen nothing much so far.
Interesting point. I guess for you, Matthew, when you look at the landscape for Marcus Rashford, obviously you yourself in your club, you've had tricky players. You let one of them go, and we're going to talk about him in our next episode and what impact he could have at the mighty Arsenal. Come on, Raheem. But and obviously you got a few players in your ranks right now that are still kind of burning hot and cold. You got Enzo, you got Mudryk in particular. What do you think needs to happen now for Rashford to really kind of... I don't like the phrase unlock him, because I think people use that a lot in relation to footballers, but what do you think he needs now to help him push on?
Leave.
Just that?
Leave.
Wow.
Let's be real. Let's be real here. Man United are in mud. And that means a lot coming from me, right? And sometimes, let's change it from football. Let's say he's working at a retail store. Retail's the best example, right?
Yeah.
And he's just shining at what is a terrible store in the department. I'm not going to say no names, but it's a terrible store, right? And for every bad thing that happens, yes, they could blame Casemiro for the last game. They got whooped against Brighton. But the one thing that always happens, and we've seen this in the past before with a particular Paul Pogba at the time there as well, everything got put on him. Fair. It's all his fault. When, if you look deep down, it's not always his fault. He could be doing more, but what more could he possibly be doing? He's making the runs. He's trying to show that he's making an effort, and he has those flash in the pan moments, like Craig says. 2 years ago, 30 goals in a season, and then a year later gets snubbed from the Euros. What more can the guy do? I just think that if at any point he was going to be leading that Man United line, it would have happened already. He's not a young man anymore. He's close to 30 million to 20. But he's still got so much to offer, like our personal problematic player as well. He's got so much to give. He doesn't necessarily have to give it at Man United. Maybe it's best for both parties. Sometimes you come to a point where it's like, it's not working. And he could go to another club. He doesn't even have to stay necessarily there in the Premier League. He could go abroad. There's a very big hole in a particular French club because they lost their Ninja Turtle. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I wouldn't move to PSG though if I was Marcus Rashford. I get it; it would be an interesting place to go to. But I know that they prioritise younger players. So firstly, I don't think they'd necessarily want to sign him. Not that he's old, but I think age profile might be outside of what they're looking at to do. But also, I think to go from Man United to PSG, I would only do that move if it's a transition back to another big team. I'm not saying PSG are not a big team, but when it comes down to the scale of history and elite teams, they don't really kind of match
they're not
up.
an elite team.
Like
no.
an AC Milan, now that's a move I'd say, okay, let's
or
do that.
Marseille, because Marseille won Champions League back in the day.
Help them get back to where they used to be. That could be a more interesting challenge. Obviously, going over to Spain, there's only a few real clubs that probably could afford them, might want to make the move. And then obviously Germany is not really that appealing to go to like a Bayern Munich. But again, if you want guaranteed, or I say if you want guaranteed trophies, I mean, that was the case prior to Kane arriving. Not saying it's Kane's fault, but, you know.
Or if you want to talk about bringing up a club back to glory, a club that, you know, is known for their football, not like heritage, but they're a footballing nation. They're a football nation in themselves. Passionate fan base.
Turkey.
Not Turkey. Bit close to home to here. Why don't he go to Newcastle and these that go to there? These that go to United. Young upcomer. And Man United, I'm not saying I want him to go. I want him to come to us. But Man United, if they really want to be leading that charge forward with a guy who's going to score a lot of goals, Solanke's gone. Watkins won't go. Kane's gone.
Or to Man United.
You won't go.
If Man United slapped a big enough bid, I think he'll think about it.
It's stupid enough.
It's still Man United.
Yeah. Look.
And you know, and if you go by odds, who's more likely to win a trophy in the next couple of years, Villa or Man United? Man United won one last season.
True.
Can't take that away from Ten Hag. You know, it may not be the league form is not great, and it's a bigger indication of their problems. But they win cups.
Plus, Newcastle can afford his wages.
Rashford's
wages.
And there'll be homegrowns that will help them going forward. Okay.
And he'll get and better chance of getting back into the England squad.
Newcastle.
Better chance.
It's an interesting thought.
That's a very interesting thought.
What do you think about that?
I think it could work. I want this like at Arsenal.
Same.
You could, yeah.
They can sell Rashford. They can sell Rashford to to Newcastle and we get Isak in return. I don't mind that. The three-way swap.
You all get a striker. You'll get a proven striker. You all move forward. All guaranteed to get into their Euro squads. What's win-win-win, isn't it?
Interesting idea. We'll see how things pan out. Obviously, I think Rashford's perform, and again, like if Zexi had taken one of those chances that he put on a plate for him, the conversation would be very different. We're saying Rashford's back. Look at it, he looks sharp, and I think you're right. His playing is different. He's not taking players on like he used to. There's elements in his game that's not quite the same. But I think what's quite interesting is the fact that the manager has problems. So if you're Ten Hag, for example, there's a lot of things that he needs to do. For you, Craig, and then you, Matthew, what do you think, this international break, what do you think it is that he's going to be working on during this time? Because a lot of things he needs to figure out.
He needs to find a structure. He needs to play, like, Man United are always based on playing attacking football. Under Alex Ferguson, they know how to play like attacking football, great possession-based football. They'll stifle you in the defenders, stifle you to have the front three or 4-3-3, or back in the day 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1. Interestingly, he's got Van Nistelrooy there, Man United's greatest ever goal scorer. He got Ray Rooney, was the greatest goal scorer, but he got Van Nistelrooy, a good goal scorer for them as well. I feel that he has not. I don't know how much input he has in training, but I think he needs to work with the strikers, especially Xerxes in finishing. Because the chance that Rashford created for him was a great chance for him to score. The first one when he dinged it over and all he had to do was to swivel and shoot. He tried to, I don't know what he tried to do, but it didn't work. Hit his heel and it went. But I feel that Ten Hag, he's been at the club for only 3 years. His third season, wasn't it?
Third season.
Yeah, third season. Yeah. He does what, I think he's a cup manager. Since he's been at United, he's proven that he's good in cup competitions. Man United don't want to be winning FA Cups and League Cups. They want to be winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and maybe a Europa League if they're in that competition. And I feel United are a big club, they've won the most Premier Leagues. They used to play great football.
Love that. Used to.
They used to play good football. They used to be good on the eye to watch. They had some of the greatest players played for them. Cristiano Ronaldo, Carlos Tevez, Wayne Rooney, Van Nistelrooy, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, David Beckham. I could go on and on and on. I know sometimes clubs go through a transitional period. I think Arsenal went through it and they're trying to get back to that level they were before. Chelsea are going through it now. Man United have been going through that transitional period since Sir Alex Ferguson's left. They've brought in so many good managers and they have Van Gaal, David Moyes, Mourinho, Oli. To be honest with you, I thought Oli was doing a good job because he got them second twice. Or was it second twice? He got them second twice, isn't it? Or was it once?
Got them at least once.
He got them second once, and I thought that he was playing some good football. He knew the Man United DNA. He was part of the academy. No, he was coaching the academy kids, and he knew the Man United DNA how to play the football because he played in the club. So when they sacked him, I was like, okay, who are they going to bring in now? And I thought that they've never really played good football since Ollie's left. Since they don't really play good football at all. I think they've been playing. There's no structure because when you got players like Bruno Fernandes, like very technically good footballer, captain of the club. You got players like, you got Garnacho, you got Ahmed Diallo, you got Rashford, the midfield is the problem. There's no. Everyone's criticising Casemiro, saying Casemiro is old, he's this, is that. But if you remember the Casemiro at Real Madrid, yeah, he had the system, he had the structure, he had Modric, he had some good players next to him. He'd just sit and just do his thing. He didn't have to be doing get the ball from the centre backs and be driving and trying to create stuff. So I think the structure of the midfield, him, Kobe Mainoo, and who else played there on Saturday? On Sunday was Bruno.
Casemiro's, Kobe Mainoo, and Bruno, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then they brought the kid on for Casemiro after.
I feel like there's no, he hasn't got no protection and he's been asked to do a job that he's not used to. And I think it's very harsh on a player that's won everything in world football to win in club football. And I feel that his wife came out and the other day said that look at all the trophies he's won, how can you be criticising him and all that. And some of the pundits as well, some of them don't really know what they're talking about sometimes, criticising a guy. Especially Jamie Carragher sometimes, end of the day, he's won more trophies than you. He's done big things. He's won 5 Champions Leagues. How many Champions Leagues have you won? 1. And he was a top player as well.
Yeah, he was.
So, you know, I wouldn't write up Casemiro. I think Casemiro will get back into form again. I think him and Lagarde, maybe they might have to play both of them in games to kind of balance out the midfield, to solid up the midfield a little bit, and maybe drop Maino some game, maybe rotate Maino and Bruno some games or whatever they're gonna do. But you know, it only can get better. If it gets worse, then maybe the P45 would be in the post.
What would you do? Through to you, Matthew, from Man United. How do you think they should use this international break to tune up?
If they are hell-bent on sticking with him after a poor result, they have to mean it. And I mean that they can't get cold feet suddenly and be like, actually, you are out of a job. If they're dead hell-bent and serious on this, they have to stick with him. And by sticking with him, it's going to sound weird me saying this, but you have to let him implement into the club what he wants. Right, so since last year, there's been a big emphasis on the young players. Hence, like your Kobe Main, who's been able to break through to the England squad and actually doing quite a decent job against it. Plus, he did get that goal that would help take them to the FA Cup final against Liverpool. So clearly, it's not just Chelsea who have a good youth system. Man United may have a good one as well. It may be a chance now, and against us, they haven't spent as much money, but they have spent a lot of money. Maybe their problems aren't that bad. Maybe their answers are a little bit closer to home. Maybe it's a case of, because Ten Hag's worked with young players before, right? Yeah. Maybe he needs to trust into his youth that little bit more. Maybe it's because we've got this huge talent foundry right here. Let's flip the script on Man United for what we want. We're in a transition. This is the time that we do it. Granted, it's been for more than 10 years, but if we're going to do a transition, let's do it right. Let's implement a style of football that I want with a group of young players that I want. Because you've got a lot of these older heads now that are either just, they're not with it anymore. They're good, but we're not keeping up the pace of the Premier League no more. You know, Casemiro, prime example, fantastic player at Real Madrid and always going to be a fantastic player. It could also be a case that it may be in the Premier League, especially in a high-profile game like Liverpool, it ain't working. So have the balls, the bravery to be like, look, you're still going to be in my squad. Just don't expect to be starting every single time. I've got a young man, a young prospect coming through. He's young, he's hungry. He may be a bit raw, but you'll be there to kind of show him the ropes a little bit. They're in a prime position, Mainu being a main example. Plus some of the young guys they brought in. Hodgson is still so young as well. They could make something out of him. Maybe it's a case they need to look at. It's a quite an aging squad. Bruno Fernandes has been there for a while as well. You know, they got rid of Ronaldo. Granted, age was going against him. He was never going to last. Maybe they should look at that. Maybe they should look more of their talent foundry. They're only getting younger. Look at Spain in the Euros. Majority of them will probably be back in school by now anyway. I'm not saying it should be emphasizing on school kids. What I'm saying is there's longevity there. And in that way, you'll come about creating, hopefully, a new class of 92 when they were all young, starting off to go off and do all these great things. So maybe their problems are easier to solve than they think. But I think the main thing they got to do is, if they're hell-bent, if they had the poor run, 2 losses and a win, and a narrow win at that, start playing some of your more younger and exciting prospects because they're going to want to play. They are going to want to play and they're going to want to work for it. So their next game, I don't know who it's against, maybe have a bit more faith in the youth. And then the cups.
Yeah.
Try that.
Do you think he has a style of play? Because obviously you said it's not beautiful anymore, but do you think they have a style of play at all?
He doesn't now. He doesn't right now. It's not working. It's not settled enough. You know, at least with Fergie, he had that constant press, that constant threat, that build-up and just bombarding you. How many times they'll get the ball and they'll just tear up, and that's how they got half of their goals. Yeah. Plus, it also helps the fact they have poachers in the box, foxes in the boxes, like, you know, your Rooney's, your Van Nistelrooy's, your Tevez, your Ronaldo. Hell, even going down as far as someone like Louis Saha, you know, they'll always have someone there in that position to tap in with a goal. They currently don't have that right now. Maybe that's because how football has changed. It doesn't allow for those constant breaks all the time. It's all very systematic. And if that's what he wants, cool, then do that. Build up towards that. but don't just turn up to every game playing a different style. Was it Fulham, Brighton, and Liverpool? You could argue they've had 3 different styles for 3 different games. Have a system and kind of like commit to it. Granted, that time should have been had for pre-season, but we're not in pre-season anymore. But you have a saving grace because there's only been 3 games. You currently now have an international break. Not all of those players are going to be going. So that gives you the perfect time to work out what you want and have by the next game, again, I don't know who they're playing. Let's say it's a lower ranking team. Let's say it's someone lower ranking. Who are they playing?
Next game is against Southampton.
Southampton, perfect opportunity. No disrespect for Southampton, but they're still finding their feet. This is the perfect time to establish yourself.
And it's away, so it'll be at St Mary's.
Even better. Exactly. You got a home win. Let's get an away win. Establish yourselves.
Well, let's move on from Man United and their problems, and Chelsea and their results. Good win against Crystal Palace. Craig?
Draw.
Draw. Sorry.
Should have won.
I'm living in a different planet. So they drew. A good draw. Oh, can you have a good draw? I guess you can. A draw against Crystal Palace. Craig?
Great first half, poor second half. Run out of steam second half. I felt that the attacking play was working. The fluid attacking play between Pedro Neto, Madueke, Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer, they're working their tandem. They got the ball in, crossed it in the box. The diamond is working, crossed in the box, Jackson tapping, goal. I see Jackson as a poacher, as a goal poacher. I think in the 18-yard box, he will score any type of goal, headers, side foots, whatever. But one thing he needs to do is stop being offside. And he missed a simple chance in the second, I think it was the second half or the first half to make it 2-0. Madueke missed a simple chance as well.
They all missed simple chances, man.
But I think Dean Henderson had a blinder though. Because Cole Palmer had a free kick for like 20, 30 yards out and he got right on the top bins and he saved it. I always rated Dean Henderson. I always thought he was a good goalkeeper. I think he's just been injuries that just set him back.
And the move to Man United.
And the move to Man United. Oh, yeah, that as well. Yeah. I feel that, I think the manager's stamping his authority in the team now. He's got a system he wants to play. He wants to do inverted right, but he wants to invert like Arteta does for Arsenal, like what Guardiola does for Man City. He comes from the Guardiola system.
School of thought, yeah.
School of thought. So the new wave of football is inverting now. The only issue I'll say about Chelsea is that they haven't got a lot of like backup defenders. You let Chalobah go on loan, and I feel that you didn't replace Thiago Silva or something. You bought all these attacking players, but didn't sort out the defence.
They could argue they have enough defenders there. You got Badiashile, you got Wesley Fofana, Tosin, you got Koval. I mean, how many more do you need?
But I still think the goalkeeping situation is not really sorted. I think Robert Sanchez, he's a bit shaky for me, man. He's not very commanding as a goalkeeper. Yes, he'll make a good reflex save and then you'll concede stuff. You'll concede an easy goal.
On that point, Matthew, are you surprised that Petrovic was allowed to go out?
Yeah, club? He's played most for us last season. He was Pochettino's, number one choice. And I was personally quite happy with that. Granted, he weren't perfect, he weren't the best, but he was a little bit more solid than what Sanchez was. And proof point was there was a shot there was only 1-1 at this point, but a shot came by, I can't remember who by. And the way his hand goes, it's like he goes and like he punches it like this, when really truly he should be like stopping with his hands like that, to just take the sting out. Because when you punch like that, there's too much of the surface like that, it's too unpredictable. Variation, yeah. It could very well and has ended up in the goal. He flaps too much. He played in your game at the Bridge when we were winning 2-0 commanding.
Yep.
And one of his mistakes, cost us the win eventually. I'm not saying he's a bad keeper. He's a good shot stopper, very good shot stopper. But that goal, good as it was by Eze, a better keeper is getting that. Personally, a better keeper is better than that because it wasn't fast, but it was swerving a little bit. But you can see his reaction on the goal, how he was banging the floor. Like he knows in his heart of hearts, if he tried a little bit harder, he's at least putting it against the post. Even Philip Jorgensen would have been a better choice. He's deputising for us once. He played the midweek game for the Conference League. Granted, we lost that game, but it's a chance for him to step in. It just seems like two of our more established keepers, Kepa's at Bournemouth, Petrovic is off to Strasbourg, and Petrovic had a pretty good year. He's getting if Maresca is sticking with him, you have to back it and be like, all right, maybe there's a reason. Same way how you got Ramsdale and turned him into a monster. Maybe he sees something. Maybe he sees something that I don't.
Well, we also moved Ramsdale on, so clearly maybe there's something he needs to see as well too. But yeah, I guess on that note then, obviously there's a draw, not a bad result, and take us into the international break for Chelsea. But then looking at the state of your squad, you've done a lot of work to get players in and out. Our next episode, we're going to look at a review of the squads and how we think business has been this summer. But for you, what would you say then is looking at Chelsea, what would be your best team? What's now the 11?
The system he has right now, the shape is pretty much perfect. Because like Craig said, that diamond you have just keeps on so much activity. I mean, Palmer further up allows him to feed towards either Neto or Mudryk, or eventually even someone like Sancho, or even feed someone like Noni. Him and Noni play really well together, and you could argue Noni, we could have been 3 or 4 up at one point, but they kept missing some chances. Plus, you still got Nkunku in the mix. He's now back and he's fit. He's scoring. He's now scoring the odd goal here and there for us, which is really good. So going forward and getting goal options is great. He just need to score. So I'm gonna start with the front because it's just a little bit easier. Cole Palmer is going to be kind of
as the number 10.
As a number 10 ahead of. It would have been great if Gallagher stayed because I'd have him next to Caicedo every single day. Yeah. Again, Enzo was at fault with that damn goal. But he's what we have. So
such a life, eh?
But again, someone like Caicedo again had a really good towards the end of the season. I really hope he continues on. So you got that middle, Palmer, Enzo, Caicedo. On this side, it varies. On this side, it varies. So it could be. Let's stick with Neto because I wanted to get some game time in, and then stick with Noni. You can't not have Noni at that position. They play far too well together. And then in front, yes, I know Jackson, but I want to see Nkunku get a run in, so I'm going to have him there. Back is going to be Gusto, Cucurella, Colwill, and Fofana. And then goal, I would like to see Jorgensen in goal.
Oh, basically anyone but Sanchez. Craig, any changes you'd make to that 11? Or do you think you'd go for the same?
When Reece James is fit, you have to start. He's the captain, the top captain.
If and when
he comes back.
Yeah.
But I think Gusto's a good backup though.
Gusto.
A backup to start. Good backup to start. But
even of late, there was a period last year where he was really, really, really well. And he's while Reece James is still working his way back from injury, I really hope it doesn't turn out to be a Wilshere situation of great potential, but just injuries just absolutely killing him.
But do you remember the season when you guys won the Champions League, the second Champions League, not the first one, the second one? Reece James played every game. He played a lot of games that season.
He was instrumental, and Tuchel loved him.
Him and Chilwell had a good partnership. Them two were playing every single game, no injuries.
But has he bulked up since that? Because I feel like he's put on more muscle mass since then, and that's contributing to his injuries.
Maybe, and because he wasn't big, but he was a bit leaner. He was quick. He was sometimes a bit floppy, but that maybe come down to his size.
Because that contributed to Wilshere's issues, because he bulked up too much too soon.
But I think also as well that maybe he's not eating right either. Maybe he's not having the right diet. Maybe he's not having enough rest.
It's not there.
Maybe he's got a lot. He's worrying about something. Sometimes when you're under a lot of stress, you can pick up injuries with stress as well.
I mean, he would be under stress. He's not playing football. That's his job.
He's working so hard to get back. He's coming back to it. It's coming back on him.
How old is he now? Is that 24, 25 now?
He's about 25. He's got and for a right back, he's got years on him. Look at Kyle Walker. He's still competitive at that end.
Yeah, but when you get so many injuries young, it kind of it does mess up your career longevity.
So let's ask this question then. Ask all of us this question then. Who do you think is the best England right back between Kyle Walker, Trent, and Reece James?
Depends what you want.
I think, out of all three of them, I love Trent, I love Kyle Walker, but I feel that, Reece James, he can do everything that Kyle Walker can do, and he can do everything that...
Not everything, but a lot of things.
A lot of things. He can defend. The only difference between him, compare him and Trent gets more assists. And he can score. And he can score a screamer as well.
Look, and Reece can score. Reece can score. Reece can shoot. Reece can shoot.
Yeah, Reece is. It's a good question. I would.
In your top three.
Well, Walker is going to be number one by default because of availability
And fitness and just
consistency.
Yeah.
You think of the biggest games that we've played and he's there and he's been Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
After that, I'm going to go for Trent because I think what he can deliver with his delivery, his passing, that changes games. Now Reece James is very good. He's got good delivery. I think Reece James it's probably, if you were to go based on raw talent and ability, you'd probably go Walker, James, Trent. Just for the fact that James is good both ways, defensively and offensively. He's really good. Good strength, great power shot when he's available. But for me, if I'm looking at a player to make the biggest difference in a match, tournament situation, we're in the final, and the ball's going to go to my right back, I want Trent on the pitch.
Because you can move forward though. You can move Trent.
Yeah, but
there's space moving forward.
They tried that, it failed. I want him on the pitch because I know he will, like, if it's a tight game, if he gets that ball, if you're say we have like Gordon on the left wing, for example, you got Saka on the right, you've got Kane through the middle, and Trent's got the ball deep in. He's got the ball at right back.
Yeah.
He's got the ball in the corner at right back, just by the edge of the box. Yeah, in the defensive half. He's got that ball, and you're those three players. You're moving forward because you know he can just ping it. He doesn't have to. He can just hit it, and you've got a chance.
Somebody will.
You've got a chance.
And do you know who reminds me of that? He reminds me of David Beckham with the set piece delivery, quality set piece delivery on Trent. Very good.
Yeah. So he's got that in his game. So for me, he would be the one that I think when you're deep in tournaments, I would start him in knockout games.
So Reece in his group games, then him going forward.
Going forward now, but obviously Reece isn't fit. So if he can get back fit, then that's a conversation we'll have. But for now, by default, Trent will be number one. But overall, looking at the three of them, I'd say Walker, Trent, and then James. Although I rate James very highly, I think he's got the attributes to probably supplant both of the other two. But at the end of the day, availability is a superpower, and if you can't be fit, can't play.
I think Reece James need the body of Kyle Walker, evergreen, no injuries.
Reece James needs to call Van Persie and ask him for advice. How did he get back fit? Because Van Persie was injury prone for a long time, and then he had a 3.5 year stretch when he was fully fit, no injuries. He had a good 18 months at Arsenal, good 18 months at Man United, and then it fell apart.
Then he got to Turkey now.
But then his injuries kicked in at that point. So
he's still young, so he's got time.
Yeah. But what's your pick of the three?
Walker, James, Trent. Just because I think under a different manager, under Lee Carsley, there's a space. I'm so convinced there's room for at least two of them in the game. I'm so convinced. It didn't work under Southgate. It could work under Carsley. Carsley seems a bit more attacking minded. He's good at working with the younger players going forward, having much more of a positive attacking mindset. I could be wrong. I mean, if it flops under this manager, it ain't working.
What I will say is this. I remember last podcast I was talking about Carsley and how he set the England 21s up. The player I was thinking of was Angel Gomez. I just couldn't remember his name. So I'm glad he's called up into the squad because he used Angel Gomez as the 6. And if you know Angel Gomez's career at Man United, he was never a 6. He was a progressive passing midfielder, a bit more attacking, further out the pitch. Yeah. But he plays him as a 6 because of his distribution. And then either side of him, he had Morgan Gibbs-White and Smith Rowe. That was their midfield. And then, you had Madikele, it's one on the wing, I think.
Palmer.
But then was he in that tournament?
I think he was not.
I think he was.
Then I'm very intrigued to see how he's going to create that platform for these players going forward. Look at the England squad. Who will lose out in the midfield 3? How will he give Trent that free license to play the way he can play really well, and how will he set the team up? Because defensively they were very solid as well, but offensively it was just crazy what England 21s were doing.
What we want, we want for the main squad.
So I'm very intrigued to see how that goes.
I think Smith Rowe is very unlucky not to get picked for the squad because he hasn't been in good form for Fulham, but maybe the next one.
Too early for him.
Too early for this one.
But we'll see if he can make it next time. Newcastle Spurs. Craig, talk to us about Spurs losing again and again.
It was a game on two halves. First half, Newcastle dominated, had a lot of possession of the ball. It was going back and forth. Newcastle got the goal before half time. And second half, they scored an own goal, comical own goal, Newcastle, Dan Burn. Nick Pope, yeah. I think with Nick Pope, if I was playing football with Nick Pope, I'd be very nervous. He doesn't really give me any confidence in goal.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, considering I think before his injury, he was like almost ready to take over from Pickford.
When I mean like, he's not very good with his feet. He's not a sweeper keeper. He tries it, but it doesn't always work. He tried to, I don't know what he tried to do. The ball came to Dan Burn, got nervous and then kicked it and went right onto the roof of the net, the wall. It was a comical own goal. If you see it after, I'll show you guys later. It was horrible. Oh my gosh. Then Newcastle scored a breakaway goal. What's his name again? Murphy. Murphy ran through and he had this slid, you know, on FIFA when you just slide the ball across and he had tapping. Isak scored the winner.
And like Isak.
That's all it is.
This guy is an in-demand guy. At the right club for now.
But I feel Newcastle, like, I feel Eddie Howe, like, I feel the owners need to back him more in the transfer window, because I feel like if he can get the squad that he wants, they can definitely challenge for top 4 again this season. I know last season they struggled because they were in the Champions League, and they were very unlucky not to qualify from that group, because they beat PSG at home, and then I think they lost the way to them. I think it will cost them.
Yeah, the wheels kind of fell off after.
Yeah.
They got high after that and then just went.
But then they had a horrendous lot of injuries last season as well. They had a lot of injuries. So if they can sort out the injury record, you know. And the one guy I like at Newcastle as well, I like Bruno as well, Bruno Guimaraes. I think he's a very good player.
He's
a leader, a proper
He's
leader.
their vice captain this season.
He's their captain.
First captain. Yeah.
He's their captain now. He's a proper player.
Good player, man. Really good player.
I was surprised no one didn't go for him in the summer, like a Man City or maybe
100 million.
They could charge that. He's like an established player there now. He's established.
He's been there for how many seasons now? This is his 4th season there now, isn't it? Fifth
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, established.
You know what you're going to get from him, so quality player. I guess for you, Matthew, do you think, obviously this bodes well for Newcastle, troubling for Tottenham, and the whole group has no sympathy. But where do you think Ange needs to fine-tune things and uses, again, international breaks come out, it's a weird time, 3 games in, it's a bit annoying, especially if you've got momentum. So Liverpool probably would dislike this break. I guess for teams like Spurs and others, it might be good for them to get a chance to kind of rejig stuff. Southampton in particular, this is a great break for them to work on passing out from the back. But how do you think Andrew will use this break to kind of tune things up at Tottenham and then lose to Arsenal when they come back?
I think he might want to try and get the best, really true best for getting out of Solanke. You know, he's a big marquee signing. And
is he still injured though?
He's still injured. Well, he's gonna
be fit for the North London derby, 100%. I think he'll be fit for the North London derby.
He's gonna have to start working around with him coming after a great season with Bournemouth. Like, you know, and I think maybe even Solanke's got to change the way that his game plays as well. Playing for Tottenham is not like playing for Bournemouth. You're playing in a much bigger stadium. I was gonna say expectations, but they're both the same. They don't have trophies. Well, Bournemouth have had more to celebrate recently because they got promoted 2 years ago, so there's that. But he could be the catalyst for change. He could be the one that helps deliver them something. They've still got the likes of Son, who's, you know, again, a Tottenham mainstay, probably going to retire there. They managed to wrangle Timo Werner, and like I said, if he stays on side, he could be very, very dangerous. And, you know, they've still got... They can't keep being the bridesmaid all the time, is what I'm saying. They can't keep being the damn bridesmaid.
But they can.
They probably will be there. I mean, look, but what do they want? What do they want? Do you want to claim this whole claim of... The only claim they have against Arsenal is that they've been in North London longer. That's their only claim. They've been in North London that bit longer.
Yeah, and at this point, who cares?
And no one really...
It's our gaff, mate.
What does he want? Do you want to play good football or do you want to start competing on the front of trophies? Because that's when it gets really, really funny.
You can have both. They can't, but you can have both.
Leicester have a better claim to fame trophies that they do.
Yeah.
And James Vardy was taunting them the other day when they played against them, saying, I got one Premier League, what have you won? What have you won?
They have to establish what they... This, and I hate being like this guy because I can think that you can be one or the other. They have to win something. That's why I said last year, when Ange came through, with Harry Kane leaving, it finally might free the team up and show a bit more expression. I had them to go and win the FA Cup. They got knocked out in the first 2 rounds. And then the Carabao Cup turned out enough better. In order to establish this team and to give this club the players that they have there, because they've got winners in this team. They've got people who know how to win, you know, to establish what it is that they want to go on and state that claim of we can go ahead and do it, they have to win something. And it could be something as simple as a Carabao Cup. And they're not in Europe as well. They're in Europe too.
Who? Tottenham. Yeah, Europa League.
Europa League. Hell, do something with the Europa League. If they did something in the Europa League, that might be a big case.
Oh, is it Europa League or going for conference? Is it? No. Conference.
They're in something.
Yeah,
Because Man United are Europa League, aren't they?
Because Man United not
because the FA Cup. Yeah. So go ahead and do. I'll start winning in it could be a Carabao, an FA, a conference. Maybe even go for win for 2.
Look, everything but the Audi Cup. Just win something.
Not the Audi Cup, because you can see a comparison to see someone like Man United who can live off of that. That's 2 trophies in 2 years for Ten Hag. As bad as he's doing, when it comes to the cups, he does really well. And you know what? A lot of clubs in the past can do well off winning just in the cups, and not even necessarily in the Premier League. The cups. Look what Tuchel did when he first time of Arsenal after half a year. He came and won the Champions League and got us to an FA Cup final. Poch came in, got us to a Carabao Cup final. Frank Lampard, first time of Arsenal, got us to an FA Cup final, and vice versa. I'm sticking with Chelsea because it's a good example. But sometimes, and look, Ten Hag, 2 years on the bounce, he's ending the season with a trophy.
But Arsene Wenger used to do that at Arsenal as well. He didn't do one in the league, but then won the FA Cup towards the end of his career, and it kind of helped him. Give him more time at the club so he could try and work.
But would you not want him more?
I wanted more. You always wanted more, but
you want more,
end of the day, if I go to a cup final and I beat my rivals in a cup final, I'll be happy for that. At least I got a trophy and I can brag about having a trophy for the season. But it's not the biggest trophy in the world, but it's better than no trophy. End of the day, if you look in the history books, Arsenal won the FA Cup 15 times. If you look in the history book with Tottenham, when the last time they won a trophy, 2008 in League Cup. That's too long.
That was a long time ago.
And they bought a new stadium. How much money they sold on players. They bought a lot of players in. And they got to the Champions League final. There's no way they're going to win that Champions League final against Liverpool. No way.
If it didn't start Kane?
If they didn't start Kane that final, they'd have won that Champions League final.
There's no way that game was ending on a victory for Tottenham. I have it on good authority. It was just not going to happen.
Liverpool on job that day anyway. They did what they had to do, get those 2 goals and then kill the game off and then go.
Liverpool and others were on job.
Yeah, it wasn't a good final, but they got and he knows how to win. Ange knows how to win.
Yep, at Celtic, he
knows how to win. And, if he can win at Celtic, if you do it at Celtic with a good team, you can do it at Tottenham, who also, when it comes down to it, player per player, are also a good team.
Usually he wins in second season, so we'll see what they do.
This could be the one.
But the thing is, in Celtic, you can play the high line, because in Scottish League, the players are not that good in the Scottish League, let's be real. Mm-hmm. In the Premier League, you can't play a high line like what Tottenham do, because they'll get exposed every time.
Yeah.
And I think Romero, everyone rates about Romero being a good defender. That guy, man, he put you at A&E, and he will mean it as well. He should be playing in the WWF or UFC, not football. Some of the tackles he does, some of the stuff he does on the football pitch, he's calmed down a lot this season, to be fair, but last season...
It's only 3 games in, give him time.
Not against us, though.
He's building up to a stone cold stunner for Mikel Arteta, you just know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, look, their claim will be so much more solid if they win something. Not just get to a final, win something.
Well, let's move from one half of North London to the best half of North London. Of course, talking about Arsenal. A very disappointing, but you'll take it rather than lose it. 1-1 draw against Brighton. A match that is marred in lots of controversy. We'll get to the controversy in a second. But for you, Craig, looking at the team in the first half, what would you say is something that you've taken away from the game from an Arsenal perspective?
Would you lose the game? Calafiori came on solid up in the defence.
He looks good.
He's very good. He's pushing for a start soon. I think Gabriel needs to watch out because he could take his place.
I think the spot he's going to come in if he's going to start is left back. I don't see him. To me, Gabriel Saliba is not getting broken up for love nor money. It's left back where I think that's where he might start. So if you're Zinchenko, you might be worried about your long-term future.
But I feel with Zinchenko as well, though, because we're missing Declan Rice for the Tottenham game, you could just slot him in midfield.
People say that. I don't know. I'm not convinced. We'll see.
He's not very defensive-minded, is he?
Well, I mean, can he run? Because I feel like we need runners in that midfield against Spurs. But yeah.
But who do we have though? We've got Jorginho, we've got Partey, 2 granddads in the team. Jorginho can't run.
Well, it depends how you want to set up. So you could go from it as you could bring Havertz back if Jesus is fit,
No,
you could bring Havertz back. You could put Trossard through the middle. You could start Sterling on the left or Martinelli. There's a few things you could try. You could start on the youngers. So you give Wanyeri a start.
Yeah.
Big game to start in. I think realistically you're probably going to go George and Partey. You could try Zinchenko.
Yeah.
You could even put Timber in there if you really want to do something very different.
Timber can play centre mid as well.
Can play there.
And it's very solid as well. Maybe that could work. Timber there, California left back.
Just need runners.
Timber, the California, and that'll be a solid back five.
It just depends what game you want to go for. If you want to try and control the match, I think you'll probably see Zinchenko start.
And you want Havertz up top. I don't want him to play in midfield.
But last season against him, he played in midfield and played really well.
Last season?
Yeah.
It also depends on what score
he played in the 8th position.
In the Emirates. Not at the old...
True.
At the Emirates.
But their stadium, we beat them quite convincingly. So
back to back. I want to make it a trouble this season.
Interesting thoughts though. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a lot he can do. That's going to be a big question mark, what he does in midfield because of what happened with Declan Rice. And Matthew, I want to know what's your perspective on the incident, because I'm not going to ask Craig because I've already heard his perspective at home. I have my thoughts. All I know is that Kavanagh, don't come back to the Emirates. You're not welcome. In fact, don't even referee Arsenal. You're not welcome because you're a habitual cheat. And that's all I have to say about that.
Got your bogey referee. We got Taylor. The Taylor was our first game as well.
Yeah.
See of yours. It was weird because I didn't watch it live. I didn't see it until I saw the highlights. Because I thought it was a straight red. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I saw the thing, and I was just like, my first reaction was that it?
Yeah.
Was that it? It just seemed very soft for. Again, I didn't see the game. I was out, and I tried to, but the signal was great. Wasn't great where I was. We kind of normally things like that, you have a set of warnings, a very stern warning that gets up to that. I don't know if it necessarily warrants a second yellow, but Chris Kavanagh clearly didn't have the right milk of his Weetabix, or the milk had gone off or something. But it just feels like the main problem with this is not just so much that Declan Rice has got sent off and he can't play the game. That's one part of the problem. The other side of the problem is the Premier League in general. Every single year we talk about, granted, so far, touching wood, 3 games, we haven't done any VAR. No.
No, we have.
We have. We have already had one in the first set of games, Crystal Palace.
Yep.
Eze's goal.
Yep.
And we're starting off with this conversation again where our officiating is made to look like a laughing stock.
The one thing that's missing is there's no consistency.
No.
Even in that same game, João Pedro boots the ball away at the halfway line, into the pitch. Nothing's given. Nothing's done. Declan Rice flicks and he taps the ball away. You could argue he's tapping it back towards the player. Taps the ball away, gets absolutely walloped by Veltman. The ball's rolling anyway. Veltman wallops into Declan Rice. Now you could argue on the flip side, should that be a red card for Veltman? Violent conduct. But then, Rice gets sent off kicking. I know that they had said there's a rule, if you kick the ball away, you're going to get booked for it. Okay, fine. No one's arguing about that. That's the thing. No one's arguing about that. What about João Pedro? There was another game. There's been other games this weekend. The same things happened. No bookings. So then there's just no consistency whatsoever.
Well, that's the issue here. And it's only taken 3 games, and it's like we're still talking about the same stuff over and over again. They changed the thing with the handball. I think they changed the handball rule now there as well. And just make sure that they stick to it and don't be like, look, if you make a mistake, come out and say, look, I got this wrong. I don't try. And in any job you do, you got to be the one that says like, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'll try my best not to do it again. And this is what it stinks of. And it's such a high profile game you're going into next. And, the ideal player you want in your team, he won't be there. Granted, you said, like you just said before, you've got replacements that can go in there and fit in really, really well. But if you want to go ahead and get, a big win over your rivals, is it at the Emirates?
No, it's at their ground. At
their ground as well, to establish that thing of let's establish our dominance early. No better place than there to do it, because Tottenham, funny like we say they are, they're a quick team. They got pace and they got speed, and you need a midfielder that's gonna thing that and have some runners. So your game's got a little more interesting now, but yeah, the state of refereeing already in the first 3 games has come into question.
It is indeed, and we will talk more about refereeing in another episode. But for now, we're going to call it there. Guys, thanks as always. We're going to see you all next time. Our next episode, we're going to be covering the transfers. We're going to be speaking specifically about the man that traded blue for red. He's traded red for blue before, but he's gone back the right way this time. And we'll see you all next time.
Peace.